Thanks for joining us today on our YouTube channel. I'm Harman Pogi with Precision Vehicle Wraps. Today I'm here with Spencer, right? And Spencer has been with our company for about 5 years now. Hey, Spencer, something like that?
Absolutely.
And I can remember when Spencer started off and to where he is today. I can tell you it's night and day.
Absolutely.
Spencer is our lead at Precision Vehicle Wraps in the shop of our 5 installers that we have there. And today we're going to kind of talk about what it entails to do a wrap and what would you tell somebody if they walked into the store and said, hey, I'm really thinking of wrapping a car myself and doing the work myself. What would you say to that person?
Personally, I wouldn't recommend it just due to the cost and the potential of failure. You're most likely just gonna use vinyl left, right, and center and just go through the whole roll, and you're gonna be ended up ordering more film and you're just out of money.
So is it because of the vinyl they're using, or is it because of the way they did not do any prep work to the car?
I would say it's just due to skill and not knowing how to handle the adhesive in the vinyl and how to stretch it properly, where heat's needed, and all that kind of the factors that come into installing the vinyl itself.
I see. Okay, well, and that makes total sense. I mean, we get that all the time at our shop where, somebody will come in and I'll say, you know what, just hold on a second. Let me grab Spencer and he'll get into the details for you. So tell me a little bit more about those details. So what happens when, let's say if somebody's going to do it and they're going to get some material, what would you advise them?
If they're getting their own material, I would probably recommend 3M or Avery just because it's the most user-friendly. Avery's definitely the most user-friendly over 3M. It's just because it's more of like a bubblegum-like install. It's very stretchy.
Right. And what about they said, oh, hey, I bought this new vinyl from China or something. What would you say to that?
I would strongly suggest them not to try it, just due to most Chinese cheaper vinyls are all calendared, so it's a different process to make the vinyl itself and different properties of the vinyl. Mm-hmm. And with the calendar China films, it's more likely to fail due to the memory is not, how do I explain it?
So you don't have to get too detailed, but that's okay. Yeah. Just get into the basics.
It's just, it's more likely to shrink back. It doesn't have the same memory.
So it's going to pull off the car and stuff like that. Like if they go over a section and then there's a bit of a bow in it or something like that, it's going to pop right back out again on them. Right? Yeah, with
the calendar, the cheaper films, you need to pre-shrink everything or else every channel, etc. will pop. So just simply heating it up and pushing it in, it's just going to result in failure.
So vinyl plays a big part in it first and foremost, right? So the vinyl you choose is going to play a big part in what it is that you're going to try to be working with.
Oh, absolutely. Right? Yeah, depending on the vinyl, I mean, your install, your labor-wise and everything, it's a huge factor in how long it takes to do a wrap, just depending on the material by itself.
Right. And then, so in saying that too, is there a difference between, like you were saying, cast and calendar vinyls? Is there a difference between product being good for like our climate, for instance?
Absolutely. You want to be, in Alberta, Canada, you're going to want to cast vinyl. Just, it's best for temperature fluctuations, more conformability and everything else that goes along with it.
Right.
Longer lifespan of the film, you're looking anywhere from 5, 7, 10 years versus most calendar films are 1 to 3 on a good note, and then 3 years that stuff is baked to your paint.
Right.
And then the glue removal process is a whole nother game.
I couldn't imagine. So what about so tell me, so when you started wrapping in our shop, what's the process? How do we go about that once the car is there?
First things first, the car has to be extremely clean. I mean, you could sit there with a rag and wipe it with alcohol all day, but that doesn't mean you're going to get the contaminants off the surface that are actually embedded into the paint. So, I mean, you're going to want to get it as clean as possible. You're going to want to bring it in, give it a thorough wash, degrease it, de-ionize, follow remover, all that good stuff. And then once the surface is as clean as it can be, then you're going to want to get the clay bar on there to prevent excess scratches from wiping in debris farther into the paint instead of off of the paint.
Right. Yeah. So it's quite a process.
Absolutely.
So somebody who doesn't know how to do that, it's going to have some issues with that, I'd say.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like if you've never, done a clay bar or anything like that, even that itself might be a little intimidating. But I mean, most people, if they're doing it themselves, they're just going to wash it, grab, a rag and give it a wipe and put it on. And it's going to just be filled with dust-looking things, which are just all contaminants embedded into the paint.
Which chances are they're not going to see because they're not going to have very good lighting either.
Yeah.
Right?
And the lighting's a huge factor. Yeah.
Absolutely. And well, on too, I guess you could talk about the climate, I guess, even where you're doing the wrap.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, the install environment needs to be temperature controlled, right? Too low, I mean, your vinyl is more brittle. It's not going to adhere properly. Too hot, it's now stretching too easy when you don't want it to, adhering, or, you know, you get extra glue lines just from the glue setting, and then you're trying to reposition it.
Right. And I can imagine, again, there, I'm going to lead you a little bit on that about the cleanliness of the shop, I suppose, or of where they're doing the, like some of those guys that are actually doing it outside, which just kills me.
Oh, yeah, like cleanliness is everything. I mean, if it's not clean, your wrap just overall is not going to look the way you want it to, and it's not going to look good.
Right. And what do you do with like the badges and the moldings and things like that?
The badges, we always, you know, take them off and put them on after if the customer recommends it. And we don't, you'll see some people on Instagram, YouTube, they'll just take off the badges and they'll leave the glue there as a template to put the badge back on, but you want to fully clean it and then put the badge back where it should be and not leave all the glue behind.
And and what else would you do to prep the car to be able to be ready to receive the wrap?
So prepping the car, I mean, you're disassembling basically everything that you can that makes your job easier and makes the install cleaner. So, I mean, for the most part, no matter what, handles, window trims, mirrors, bumpers, and, you know, if need be, every trim possible, you know, roof rails, stuff like that, anywhere that dirt and stuff can sit under. Plus, I mean, if you're paying premium dollar, you want your wrap to look good and professional, right? You don't want everything cut right on the edge and you got white cracks showing everywhere, etc.
And so what are some of the things you've seen from, well, not just an individual, say another wrap shop? We won't name any of them, but some of the wrap shops that are popping up all over the place, because just about anybody thinks they can do a wrap nowadays.
Absolutely.
Well, watch a YouTube video. Hey, I can do a wrap now. What are some of the things that we do that they wouldn't do?
Well, I mean, a lot of people, especially the cheaper people, they'll send the whole side of the car in one sheet, which, I mean, when you're doing vinyl, you want to wrap everything individually. You want the outcome to be almost a paint-like finish, right? You don't want people to know that it's a sticker. Essentially, you want them to think that it's its own color, right? So we're wrapping everything around the edge, so when you walk by the car, you're not seeing the original color. We're taking off the window trims, the roof rails to wrap everything behind it, so that when everything gets put back together, it looks like a brand new vehicle off the showroom floor.
Exactly. And I know when we do wraps, for instance, for full cars, including the door jambs and sills, what do we do at that point?
At that point, I mean, it's basically full teardown. I mean, doors come off, basically everything that's needed, every single rubber seal, everything to get behind it to ensure proper coverage and everything's fully done properly.
And then, of course, properly cleaned again.
And properly cleaned. Yeah, absolutely.
So what you're saying is the preparation is probably the most important thing. Would that be fair to say, or
preparation is very crucial?
The install component, though, too, is really important too. So why don't you touch on that? What makes you different than, say, me, if I want to try to wrap a car? Because it's been years since I've actually done it.
I mean, from an installer standpoint, you get down to about everything. Like, a lot of people won't notice the glue lines, but I mean, you want to stretch everything so that you can glass out the panel properly, so that you're not picking it up and repositioning it however many times it's needed. You want to do everything with a strategic plan to get everything done as clean and effectively as possible.
So I hear you guys say, hey boys, it's one and done, let's get her done. I hear you guys say that a lot, and that's because of why?
Well, you don't want to keep repositioning it. You'll just get glue lines, and I mean, every time you pick it up, you're exposing yourself for potential of contaminants and everything getting behind the wrap, and then as you place it back down, now it's just dirt and dust behind the wrap.
Right. And I mean, on occasion that's going to happen.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Regardless, I mean, you'll never have 100%. I mean, a paint booth or not, I mean, they still get dust in their paint. The positive thing about painting is you can sand out the dust nib with a wrap. It's sealed under the vinyl, so that's basically that.
Exactly. And then, so let me touch on a little bit maybe on your experience and your technique. Because I hear a lot of people, when we get them come in the shop and they ask us, well, I bought the squeegee, I got the vinyl, I got some alcohol, so I can do this. Is there anything, they always ask me, so is there anything that I should know? And, and I just kind of look at them and go, well, you should probably pick a wrap shop to do it at if you haven't done it before. I mean, it's great if you have a project and you have lots of money to, throw in the garbage, because essentially that's what you're going to do. You're going to be throwing a lot of vinyl in the garbage.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about what makes your work so special.
Just clean installs, you strive for nothing but perfection. And if it's not good, you rip it off and you put a new panel on. That's just it, right? You never want to push out poor workmanship out the door. You want to do it properly. And I mean, you're charging premium dollars, so you want everybody to be happy with their money well spent.
Well, and I like how you said, like, we want to make it look like paint.
Absolutely.
Right?
You don't want it to look like just a sticker. You want it to look like a statement.
Well, you remember that about a couple months ago, we had a little car come into us, a little Fiat. Do you remember that one?
Absolutely.
And do you remember the wrap that was on that?
Yeah, it was just poorly installed.
These two garage hacks that they decided to say, hey, we're going to hang up our shingle and say we can do that. And they charged this poor lady $4,500. And you remember, I know you do better than I do. You remember the details. Tell us a little bit what you saw was wrong with that car.
Just inexperienced at the end of the day. I mean, when something is curved, it has to be stretched a certain way. And if you don't stretch it that certain way, all you're going to be left with is fingers and it's going to crawl back. So stretch technique is absolutely everything, especially the curvier the surface, the more difficult it gets. Right.
And this car had a ton of fingers.
Absolutely. Yeah. It was very curvy. It had the full wide body kit and everything on it. So.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, you would what would you tell somebody if they came up to you and you said, hey, should I try it? What would you say?
I wouldn't recommend it just due to the cost point of it and the error margin. You're just going to constantly be ripping vinyl off if you're not happy with it, or you'll put it on. But I mean, you'll go somewhere like, let's say, to a car meet, and people will just be looking at all the imperfections when they want to be looking at a good wrap.
Yeah, and they'd be picking apart your car versus, look at that, look at that.
Yeah, once you see one thing, right, you just start seeing more and more, right? You just want it to be nothing to be seen and everything's good the first time around.
I remember when Spencer started, we had a much smaller shop. We were only about 3,500 square foot in our shop, and it was only like 3 or 4 of us at the time, all total. I mean, management and owner and staff. And what do you think about it now, where we're at today?
The growth has been huge. Everything's been great. It's came a long ways, and happy to be a part of it. Absolutely.
Well, I could tell you this, for being the owner and watching you grow since you started with our company has been really quite something. I remember it was really funny at the very beginning. I mean, you said you had lots of experience. Well, it was a little bit of experience,
right? And that's the thing, a flat application versus vehicle wrap, there's a huge difference.
Yeah.
You could have 5-10 years in sign experience, but when it comes to a color change wrap, it just doesn't really do you any justice.
It's night and day, and that's why we get such a joke out of we kind of get a chuckle, not a joke, but chuckle out of sign shops wrapping vehicles, because it's not what they do. They're used to wrapping a wall. Well, anybody can wrap a wall.
It's flat as flat, right? I mean, anybody can put a sticker on. That's just a simple, easy sticker. But when it comes to the curvature, that's really where it gets you.
Exactly. One last thing I wanted to ask you about the other staff at Precision Vehicle Wraps. What do you think of the team we've assembled?
I think it's an awesome team. It's a very close family environment, which is what every business should strive for. You want to have a close team where everybody connects, and you get to know everything about everybody, and you use that to your strengths, right? You use your players to their strengths, and if somebody's stronger here, then you use them where it's best utilized.
Well, and you're the right guy to do that, to dictate how that works. That's for sure. You're sure taking a lot of responsibility off Alex, who's our business partner in Precision Vehicle Wraps with 18 years of experience. And Alex sure helped you along the way, didn't he?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Alex was a huge stepping stone for me to getting to where I am now, and everything that came with it was very great.
Yeah, I commend you on how far you've come, Spencer, from being a bewildered young man to to who you are today. Your work has been impeccable, and Spencer leads a team of guys when we're doing a car. We don't individually do a car; it's a team that hits it and gets it done properly. And it's Spencer's job to make sure that everything's done right. Because if it's not, it needs to be done again. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, if it's not done properly, just take it off and put on a new piece. That's the joys of vinyl. You can always replace it.
Well, we don't want to do that, but you gotta sometimes, yeah. All right. Well, Spencer, thanks very much for taking the time out of your day today and coming down and helping us, helping me out shoot this video. Is pretty cool. First of many, I hope. And that wraps up another edition of our YouTube channel for Precision Vehicle Wraps. I'm Harmon. This is Spencer. Check us out sometime.